Picture yourself sifting through a small, tarnished coin tray left behind by a relative, brushing away decades of dust, and uncovering a penny that looks almost scorched, yet might be worth more than a night out at your favorite restaurant. Today, we're diving into the unexpectedly captivating world of the 1973 dirty penny. From its unlikely birth in the heart of the Philadelphia Mint to its jaw-dropping auction prices today, we'll uncover why collectors hunt these coins like treasure hunters and how even the tiniest speck of dirt can be the difference between spare change and a small fortune. Back in 1973, the U.S. Mint at Philadelphia was humming along, striking over 4.6 billion Lincoln cents that year. Planchets, the blank copper discs destined to become pennies, arrived in batches from the smelter and were supposed to be cleaned and polished before striking. On one fateful run, a shipment skirted the finishing brushes, carrying with it residual polishing compounds and industrial grit. When these blemished blanks hit the coining press, the contaminants fused into the surface, creating coins pitted with dark, embedded speckles that no amount of post-mint cleaning would erase. From the moment they left the press, these dirty pennies looked as though they'd spent their entire lives rolling around in an abandoned mine shaft. Identifying genuine dirty pennies requires both a sharp eye and a little practice. Start with the discoloration. Instead of the warm reddish-brown copper glow, you'll see a grayish, mottled patina. The depressions are not uniform scratches or stains, they're shallow craters, tiny cavities that catch light differently from the surrounding metal. Under magnification, you'll spot a contrast between the gritty fields, the flat background areas, and the high points, like Lincoln's cheek and shoulder, where the original mint luster sometimes peeks through as a silvery shimmer. Counterfeit or artificially treated pennies can mimic this look, but they won't show that natural interplay of shine and shadow intrinsic to a true coining error. Why are these coins so rare? First, the percentage of contaminated planchets was minuscule. Experts estimate fewer than 1 in 10,000 cents from that year display the dirty effect. Then consider human nature. Many early collectors either missed the anomaly or assumed the dirt was post-mint circulation damage, discarding or spending them as everyday currency. It wasn't until the early 90s, when the internet brought coin forums to life, that the dirty pennies legend took off. Suddenly, what was once a curiosity became a holy grail among Lincoln cent enthusiasts. Today, high-grade dirty pennies are virtually unicorns, and their scarcity in pristine condition fuels the market frenzy. Let's talk numbers. In January 2025, one seasoned collector shelled out $3,200 for a specimen-graded MS66 by PCGS, citing the coin's sharply struck details and well-distributed pitting as key factors. A few months later, an MS67 dirty penny crossed the auction block for an astonishing $5,450, setting a new record for this series. On the lower end, MS63 examples trade around $800 to $1,000, depending on how much original mint sheen remains visible beneath the grime. Even circulated grades aren't immune to collector interest. An AU55 dirty penny, showing light wear but substantial dirt patterning, fetched $375 last fall. Beyond the raw prices, the stories are half the fun. One collector recounts buying a sealed bag of unsearched 1973 cents for face value at a regional show, just 50 cents for 50 coins, and finding 3 dirty pennies among them. After grading, he ended up with payouts totaling over $9,000. Another tale involves a dealer who noticed a subtle difference in tone while sorting through a customer's estate coins. That one overlooked penny turned out to be an MS65 dirty, leading to an impromptu grading submission and a quick $2,500 payday. Condition remains king in determining value. In good, G4, through very fine, VF30, grades, dirty pennies sell for $15 to $60, largely driven by novelty. Jump into about uncirculated, AU50 to AU58, and prices climb to $150 to $400, especially when hints of original red luster peek through the dirt. Once you hit mint state, MS60 and up, every tiny hairline scratch or contact mark can be the difference between a $600 sale and a $1,200 windfall. Collectors pay premiums for coins with evenly scattered pitting and strong, unbroken rims, any sign of rubbing that smooths out the speckles sends values tumbling. If you believe you've stumbled on a dirty penny, resist the temptation to scrub or clean it. Those natural imperfections are its defining feature, and improper cleaning can obliterate collectible value. Instead, handle the coin by its edges, place it in a mylar flip or, preferably, a hard plastic holder, and consider submitting it to a top grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certification not only verifies the coin's authenticity but also locks in its grade, making it far more attractive to serious collectors. Before we move on, let's touch on one more nuance: the role of toning and environmental factors. Some dirty pennies have developed additional rainbow toning over the decades, where exposure to sulfur in storage environments creates iridescent hues of purple, blue, and gold around the coin's periphery. When toning complements the dirty pattern, rather than masking it, collectors often pay a premium, as it adds an extra layer of visual intrigue. However, uneven or splotchy toning that obscures Lincoln's portrait can detract from value, so tread carefully if you're exploring coins with natural patina. The 1973 Dirty Penny is more than just a blemished cent, it's a snapshot of minting history, a testament to the unpredictable quirks of mass production, and a thrilling reminder that even the humblest coins can hold extraordinary secrets. With tools in hand and a discerning eye, you might just uncover the next great prize in your change jar. Next up, we'll journey into the world of the 1987 Double Die Obverse, a coin whose dramatic error left collectors and casual observers alike doing a double take. Next, picture a shiny Lincoln cent from 1987 that seems to have decided it couldn't pick one date. Its digits appear doubled, like a stutter in metal. This is the legendary 1987 Double Die Obverse penny, an error that turned ordinary cents into instant collector magnets. From a tiny shift on the die to blockbuster auction results, we'll explore how this mistake happened, why it captures attention like few errors do, and how condition can send its value soaring. Back in early 1987, the Philadelphia Mint was once again surging through Lincoln cent production, striking nearly 4 billion coins for circulation. During the hubbing stage, when a master hub impresses the design onto working dies, one particular die received two impressions that were ever so slightly misaligned. That minute misregistration doubled key elements on the obverse: Lincoln's profile, the date, and even the motto, "In God We Trust." The result was subtle to the untrained eye, but under a magnifying glass, the doubling is unmistakable, as bold on the date's numerals as it is across Lincoln's jawline. Spotting a genuine 1987 Double Die Obverse, DDO, penny means focusing on a few telltale areas. First, examine the 1 and 9 in the date. They'll show a faint secondary shadow just to the right of the primary digit, as though someone pressed twice without lining up the guide pins fully. Lincoln's cheek and jaw will exhibit parallel contours, almost like a ghost image slightly offset. The motto above his head will also reveal doubling if you look carefully, a thin duplicate of Liberty echoing above the main letters. Crucially, these doubled lines are raised on the surface, not engraved or scraped. If it looks etched on, that's a cleaning or scratching attempt, not a true hubbing error. The rarity of the 1987 DDO stems from how few working dies carried the misaligned image into production before being retired. Estimates suggest just a handful, perhaps fewer than 50, of these error strikes escaped the press. Many were mixed into circulation and spent without notice, leaving only a comparative handful rescued by collectors once the error's fame spread in the early 1990s coin forums. Today, finding any 1987 DDO in mint state is like unearthing a nugget in your backyard, unexpected, thrilling, and potentially lucrative. Market values for this penny have climbed steadily as awareness of the error has grown. In late 2024, a specimen graded MS64 by NGC sold for $2,100, praised for its sharp doubling and lustrous fields. By March 2025, an MS65 example commanded $3,800 at auction, shattering previous benchmarks and underlining strong demand. On the lower end, an AU55 coin with moderate wear traded for $450, illustrating that even circulated examples hold value far above face. Collectors place premiums on coins where the doubling on 1987 is crisp and fully separated. Any blending of the two images can reduce value by hundreds of dollars. One memorable tale involves a Pennsylvania teacher who uncovered an MS-63 1987 DDO while sorting pocket change at home. Unaware of its potential, she showed it to a student whose parent happened to be a numismatist. After proper authentication and grading, the penny earned her a $1,200 payout, enough to cover classroom supplies for a year. Stories like this underscore the thrill of sudden discovery, an everyday cent turned treasure with just a closer look and a bit of expert guidance. Beyond auction results, academics and hobbyists alike have studied this error to understand die wear and hub alignment processes. Some have noted that the most dramatic examples display doubling not just on the date and motto, but faint doubling on Lincoln's coat buttons and even the wreath-like texture at the rim. These ultra-detailed instances are so rare that when one appears in an MS-66 grade, collectors circle back with even deeper pockets. Values can approach $7,000 in those rarefied conditions. Assessing condition-based values for the 1987 DDO starts in circulated grades. In good, G4, through very fine, VF20, you might expect values between $75 and $150, mostly tied to the novelty factor of spotting doubling. As you move into extremely fine, EF40, and about uncirculated, AU50 to AU58, the value jumps to $200 to $500, with eye appeal and remaining luster playing key roles. Once a coin achieves mint state status, MS60 and above, every contact mark and hairline scratch gets magnified in its impact on price. An MS62 could sell around $1,000, while an MS64's crispness and reflectivity might net $2,000 or more. Graduations from MS65 upwards see exponential growth, reflecting both scarcity and collector competition. If you suspect a 1987 cent in your collection might be a DDO, resist the urge to flatten the doubling with chemicals or polishing. Those steps can destroy the raised doubling and drastically cut value. Instead, hold the coin under a strong light at an angle and use a 5x or stronger loupe to confirm the raised secondary images. Photographing the doubling side by side with a reference example can help non-experts see the difference. Should the evidence be compelling, submission to a top-tier grading service like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX can provide the certification you need to maximize the coin's market potential. Collecting the 1987 DDO penny is more than just chasing dollars, it's a lesson in how tiny mechanical misalignments can create pieces that capture imaginations decades later. Every scratch-proof slab that emerges from a grading lab tells a story of mint workers, quality controls, and the intricate dance between technology and error. It reminds us that perfection isn't always the goal. Sometimes the little quirk or slip is what makes a coin truly unforgettable. As you handle these pennies, pay attention not only to the doubled numerals but to the way light dances across those doubled lines. That interplay of shadow and shine is what draws collectors in, making them stare again and again, verifying that what they see is real. It's a moment of validation that bridges past and present, a 1987 piece of metal, struck with a mistake, now shimmering with desirability in a modern numismatist's collection. With this in mind, keep your eyes peeled next time you hold a Lincoln cent from the late 80s. Even if you don't find a DDO, learning to look for subtle raised doubling will make you a sharper collector. And you never know, your curiosity might reward you with a slabbed MS65 or better that turns a casual hobby into a serious investment. After you've savored the story of the 1987 double die obverse, get ready to travel forward another 8 years to the quirkiest dirty penny era of 1995, where coloration and die cracks combine to create a penny unlike any other. Shifting gears almost a decade later, let's fast forward to 1995, when penny production was again humming at full tilt, and another defect slipped through quality control to create the notorious, dirty, 1995 penny. Like its 1973 predecessor, this one earned a nickname because it looks as if it's been coated in a layer of sooty grit. Yet the story behind its creation, the features that mark it as genuine, and the values it commands today reveal a coin that's far more than just grimy-looking pocket change. The journey of the 1995 Dirty Penny starts at the Denver Mint, where in early 1995 millions of Lincoln cents were struck with planchets made of copper-plated zinc. A handful of those planchets carried microscopic metallic debris, perhaps remnants of polishing slurry or die turnings, that embedded into the fresh copper plating as the blanks passed through the coining press. Instead of a smooth, bright red gold finish typical of new cents, these error pieces emerged with dark speckles and irregular burnished patches. Collectors quickly saw that the discoloration wasn't surface corrosion, it was an integral part of the plating layer, giving the coins a smoky, almost industrial patina that uniform wear could never achieve. Spotting a genuine 1995 Dirty Penny means looking beyond mere dirt. First, inspect under a magnifier. The dark areas will have a slightly textured appearance, as opposed to the flat soft spots that come from circulation wear. The contrast between the dark speckling and the underlying copper plating shows through most vividly on Lincoln's shoulder and the highest points of the wheat stalks on the reverse, if you're lucky enough to find a proof-like specimen. Authentic dirty examples often display hints of original mint luster peeking through in the deepest pits, creating a two-tone effect that's impossible to replicate with casual cleaning. If the grime looks like black marker or blotchy spray, you're likely looking at a doctored piece. The rarity of the 1995 Dirty Penny is tied to how few coated blanks were affected, and how few collectors recognized their value at the time. Because the copper plating process for zinc cores was relatively new, mint technicians didn't immediately connect the speckled finish to an error. Many dirty pennies entered circulation and rubbed away until no one noticed their anomalous look. It wasn't until the late 2000s, when online forums revived interest in modern errors, that the 1995 Dirty Penny became a hot topic. Today, experts estimate that fewer than 500 examples survive in appealing condition, with single-digit counts of high-grade pieces lurking in private collections. When it comes to market value, the 1995 Dirty Penny occupies a sweet spot between novelty and investment-grade error. In circulated grades, the coins tend to trade from $20 to $75, depending on how pronounced the speckling remains and whether any original red or red-brown color survives around Lincoln's portrait. Moving into about uncirculated, AU, grades, values surge to the $200 to $450 range, especially for coins with boldly contrasted dark areas and intact rim detail. Uncirculated dirty pennies graded MS63 often fetch between $600 and $900, while MS65 examples, where the dirt pattern is evenly dispersed and lightly glossy zones peek through, can climb all the way to $1,800 or more. If a specimen shows proof-like reflectivity or rainbow toning in tandem with the dirty effect, prices can spike even higher, sometimes topping out near the $3,000 mark. An especially memorable auction in November 2024 featured a 1995 Dirty Penny graded MS66 by a top grading service. The microscopic inspection revealed a uniform dusting of plating debris that looked almost like pepper sprinkled on a copper canvas. Because the coin also retained fiery proof-like mirrors in the protected fields, bidders pushed the final price to $3,200. Equally compelling was the story of a longtime collector who traded a slabbed MS64 Dirty Penny, valued at roughly $1,100, for a group of world coin rarities, effectively converting a modern U.S. cent error into a diverse foreign portfolio. This kind of trade underscores the coin's flexibility as both a standalone prize and a bargaining chip among seasoned numismatists. Beyond auction houses, what really fuels fascination are the scattered anecdotes of discovery. One Florida beachcomber found 3 1995 dirty pennies while sifting modern coins in a tide-soaked pouch. The unique interplay of dark flecks and original red sheen caught her eye just before sunset. Another collector, after studying a registry set, realized his least fancied uncirculated 1995 cent in a plastic slab was actually the most intriguing piece in his album. Its irregular burnish contrasted sharply with the cherry red of his other pennies, marking it as a dirty error. Those moments of recognition, when a subtle detail leaps out from what looks like an everyday date, capture the thrill that keeps experienced collectors hooked. Condition remains the decisive factor for the 1995 Dirty Penny's value. Circulated grades, good through very fine, tend to rest in the low double digits, rewarding only the most obvious dirty patterns. As coins approach about uncirculated status, AU50 to AU58, values scale up in line with the preservation of plating detail and rim integrity. Once a coin achieves mint state, every scratch, contact mark, or plating flake loss can shave hundreds from its price. An MS62 example might be valued at $500, while a clean MS64 brings roughly $1,200. The jump to MS65 and above reflects not only rarity but also collector competition. Evenly distributed plating errors and proof-like fields transform a coin from an interesting anomaly into a centerpiece for any modern error set. If you suspect you've held a 1995 dirty penny in your palm, resist the urge to polish or spray it. Those speckles are its core appeal, and any cleaning attempt will degrade the plating layer. Instead, handle it by the edges, place it in a clear mylar flip or, ideally, a hard plastic holder, and document the dirt pattern with close-up photographs. Once you've confirmed the raised plating blemishes and subtle luster interplay, consider sending it to a respected grading service for authentication and grade encapsulation. The resulting slab becomes a badge of legitimacy that attracts collectors and often commands premium prices. As modern error coins go, the 1995 dirty penny illustrates how even cutting-edge minting techniques can produce surprises decades later. Watching the interplay of dark granules against bright copper, it's easy to appreciate the coin not just as a rarity but as a snapshot of process imperfections and evolving mint technology. For collectors aged 40 to 50 plus who remember depositing rolls of cents at the bank, finding one of these dirty pennies is like stumbling upon a tangible memory of the past, peppered with the excitement of discovery. Bringing it all together, these three pennies, from the gritty 1973 dirty cent through the iconic 1987 double die obverse to the speckled 1995 dirty error, demonstrate that value in numismatics isn't just about metal or age. It's about the stories embedded in every die strike, the small glitches that turn routine minting into moments of magic, and the thrill of spotting something truly unexpected. Whether you're scanning pocket change or curating a high-end collection, keeping an eye out for these anomalies can turn loose change into lasting treasures, and perhaps, in the process, remind you why coin collecting remains one of the most rewarding hobbies in the world.